Hello there. Welcome to another edition of World of Africa on WION The World is One. I'm Eric Njoka. This week, following pressure from the region and stakeholders, heads of state and government of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, have resolved to take proactive and collective measures to halt the spread of military coups, terrorism, and other forms of insecurity threatening the stability of the sub-region. The show starts now. The M23 has called for adequate measures to be put in place to manage the city of Uvira, including demilitarization, protecting its population and infrastructure, and monitoring the ceasefire with a neutral force. The M23 said it was withdrawing as a gesture to instill trust in order to give the Doha peace process every chance to succeed. Here's our cover report from the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Washington on December 4, 2025, was a turning point for President Trump and the presidents of Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Trump said the United States was also signing deals on critical minerals with the two countries as he hosted Paul Kagame, the longtime president of Rwanda, and Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi in Washington. "I think it's going to be a great miracle," Trump said after the signing. Held in a peace institute which his administration has just renamed after him. But the African leaders both took a more cautious tone as fighting raged in eastern DRC, where the M23 armed group, which the UN says is backed by Rwanda, has been gaining ground in recent weeks against Kinshasa's forces.
Je veux croire que ce jour marque le début d'un chemin nouveau.
The Democratic Republic of Congo will fully play its part with dignity, with awareness and consistency, and with the support of its partners. We remain vigilant, but not pessimistic, clear-eyed, but resolutely optimistic.
It's up to us in Africa, working with our partners to consolidate and expand this peace. There will be ups and downs on the road ahead. There is no doubt about it. Rwanda, I know, will not be found wanting. I can assure you of that.
I think they've spent a lot of time killing each other, and now they're going to spend a lot of time hugging, holding hands, and taking advantage of the United States of America economically like every other country does.
A week later, the M23 advanced into the outskirts of the strategic city of Uvira in South Kivu. Less than a year after the group seized Goma and Bukavu, two key provincial capitals in the mineral-rich Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, which has been plagued by conflict for 3 decades. Images from 11 December show refugees arriving in Gatumba, Burundi, after leaving Uvira, a large city in eastern DRC, which has fallen into the hands of Rwanda-backed M23 armed group. The M23's capture of Uvira, a city of several 100,000, allows it to control the land border with Burundi and cut Kinshasa off from military support from its neighbor. A destroyed military vehicle and spent artillery shells litter the streets of Luvungi after the Rwanda-backed M23 fighters asserted control over Uvira in eastern DRC at the border with Burundi.
Rwanda and M23 began their offensive just this last weekend to take Uvira, with Rwandan forces co-located, with M23 along the front lines. Additionally, we have credible reports of increased use of suicide drones, increased use of artillery by both M23 and Rwanda, including strikes into Burundi.
Recent developments pose a serious risk of the gradual fragmentation of the DRC, particularly in its eastern part. The territorial expansion of the AFC-M23, the establishment of parallel administrations, and the weakening of state presence in certain areas fuel a dynamic that directly threatens the unity, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of the DRC and the situation on the ground.
After the United Nations statements, the M23 armed group said it would withdraw from the key city of Uvira in the eastern DRC at the request of Washington, which vowed action over the clear violation of a US-brokered peace accord. The M23's advance has thrown the future of the peace process into doubt and raised fears of a wider regional war. Leader of the M23's political branch, Corneille Nangaa, announced in a statement that the group would unilaterally withdraw its forces from the city of Uvira as requested by the US mediators. The group called for adequate measures to be put in place to manage the city, including demilitarization, protecting its population and infrastructure, and monitoring the ceasefire with a neutral force. It gave no details on the implementation of the measures. Africa Bureau, WION, World is One.
A resolution was reached at the 68th Ordinary Session of the Authority of ECOWAS held in Abuja, Nigeria, where leaders reaffirmed their commitment to democratic governance, regional peace and security cooperation. During the summit, ECOWAS leaders emphasized the need for a united regional front, strengthened security architecture, intelligence sharing and political engagement to address unconstitutional changes of government and rising security threats across West Africa.
Presidents and their deputies from across West Africa met in Nigeria for a regional meeting whose agenda was dominated by two recent coup attempts. The summit held in a conference hall on the bucolic and highly secured campus surrounding the presidential villa at Aso Rock, whose agenda was dominated by a successful military takeover in Guinea-Bissau and a failed putsch in Benin. Presidents gathered for the biannual meeting were set to discuss a recent ECOWAS mission to Guinea-Bissau and the situation in the Republic of Benin, according to the program. Trade liberalization measures and update on the transition process in Guinea-Bissau were also on the agenda. Also on the priority list is security in Sahel, where jihadist groups are waging insurgencies in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Under junta rule, the three countries left ECOWAS and formed their own group, the Alliance of Sahel States.
Sanctions are on the table, and it will be applied on any institution or any person found to be contributing found to be working against efforts to return the country to constitutional order.
Heads of state from Guinea and Guinea-Bissau, suspended after their military takeovers, were not present at the summit. In addition to military takeovers, democratic backsliding has also dogged civilian governments in West Africa.
We are here, together with our families, demanding the freedom of all political and military prisoners who have been unjustly detained. They must be released. We also demand the release of the election results.
We have lost their freedom, and they must be freed immediately. People are abusing power because they have force and weapons in their hands. We have no weapons. We are a defenseless people. This is our complaint, and we are making it. We are sending a message to the ECOWAS head of state. They will decide the fate of the people. The people voted to have results that come from the ballot box, not results fabricated in their rooms and offices.
The leaders were to later threaten targeted sanctions on anyone obstructing Guinea-Bissau's return to civilian rule.
The authorities shall impose targeted sanctions on individuals or group of persons that obstruct the transition process.
No border can insulate us from violence or fragmentation.
The failed putsch in Benin saw Nigeria deploy fighter jets and troops alongside soldiers from Ivory Coast to shore up the civilian government. ECOWAS has said more soldiers are on their way from Ghana and Sierra Leone. ECOWAS was previously hit with a string of coups between 2020 and 2023 in Burkina Faso, Guinea-Bissau, Mali, and Niger, all of whom are still under junta control. Africa Bureau, WION, World is One.
Fortuna Mining is hunting mid-tier gold assets and pushing ahead with new projects to restore its 500,000-ounce annual output target after divesting mines in Burkina Faso and Mexico. The Canadian precious metals miner has since moved to rebuild its pipeline through new partnerships, including a joint venture with Awale Resources, a West Africa-focused explorer operating in Ivory Coast or Côte d'Ivoire, as rising gold prices spur deal-making across the sector. Here's a report from Ivory Coast.
Fortuna Mining is seeking mid-tier gold assets while accelerating new projects as it works to restore its 500,000-ounce annual output target after selling mines in Burkina Faso and Mexico. The Canadian miner sold its Yaramoko mine in Burkina Faso and the San Jose operation in Mexico this year, shedding short-life, high-cost assets, but also reducing output. It has struck new deals, including a joint venture with DeSoto for exploration in Guinea and a bigger stake in Awale Resources, a West Africa-focused gold explorer with operations in Ivory Coast, mirroring a global trend as rising gold prices make deal-making more attractive.
For 2025, we have already provided market guidance and we are well in track to meet that guidance. We're going to be producing, we estimate, around 150,000 ounces of gold this year. But more importantly, moving into 2026, we already guided the market. We're expecting to produce between 160 and 180,000 ounces of gold. So that means continued year-over-year growth for this mine that it's only on its third full year of production.
West Africa saw a flurry of gold sector deals in 2025, including Atlantic Group's purchase of Barrick Mining Corporation to Tongon Mine in northern Ivory Coast and the merger of African Gold Limited with Montage Gold Corporation. Perseus Mining's $2.1 billion bid for Predictive Discovery lapsed last week after Robex Resources tabled a superior offer for the Guinea-focused explorer. Fortuna was targeting mid-size operations producing 100,000 to 200,000 ounces a year with at least a decade of mine life.
We have active exploration outside of the Séguéla property. We have at least 3 active programs right now, and we look forward to continue investing in Côte d'Ivoire. We view Côte d'Ivoire as a premier mining jurisdiction in West Africa.
Séguéla, which poured first gold in 2023, is central to Fortuna's growth plan. The mine is on track to exceed its 2025 guidance, producing above 150,000 ounces. And the company has awarded Lycopodium Lil-X an option study to expand plant throughput to 2.5 million metric tons per year, up from 1.75 million tons currently. Despite a trend toward resource nationalism in West Africa, governments remain supportive of mining investment. Africa Bureau, WION, World is One.
In a Ugandan forest, rangers are trying to build trust with chimpanzee communities. They want the apes to tolerate humans so that tourists can visit the creatures in their natural habitat. Here's a report.
They are our closest cousins. As well as sharing 98.9% of their DNA with humans, chimpanzees also act like us. They have complex social behaviors, can solve problems, and communicate. Here in Uganda's Kibale National Park, the apes live in small communities together, and sometimes they cross paths with humans. Alex Turiatunga is a guide for the Uganda Wildlife Authority. He brings groups of tourists into the forest to meet the apes. These are known as habituated chimps, ones which have grown accustomed to human presence.
It all starts when chimps are not used to people. From day one, when you visit them, they will see you and run away. But as you keep visiting, from day one, day two, year one, year two, eventually they become tolerant and accept you to be their friend or be there. Yeah, it's the same with the gorillas. The gorillas, when you are habituating them, also they will start when they even want to fight you. But you stand your ground and be there. You don't show them that you are scared or fearing them.
Wild chimpanzees will flee deeper into dense patches of forest and are known to be violent when rival groups clash over territory. So tourists can only visit the 3 groups of habituated chimps. The number of apes in any one group can range from dozens up to around 100. Even habituated chimps remain relatively wary of people, and only a few individuals appear to have fully overcome any discomfort. One ranger has spent 4 years stalking and building a rapport with the animals. Gene, an alpha male chimp, now trusts the guide enough that he'll even climb down to the forest floor and relax while tourists are nearby.
Gene is my friend. Why I say that is because when I am with the chimps in the forest, we follow all of them. But there are some individuals that don't allow me that distance, so you find that the close distance I am allowed near him is not possible near a Hibwa, another male chimp in the group. You find Gene feels more comfortable when I am near him more than with others. I can also stand near the others, but you find that the distance for him is closer.
4 men work in shifts as chimp habituators with Gene's group of primates. When the chimps settle down to rest, the men crouch in the mud nearby. When the primates go hiking, they trek alongside them, sometimes even grunting like them. They have been trying to habituate this group for more than a decade. Earning the trust of a leader like Gene means others will slowly follow. The goal is to increase the number of chimps in the forest and extract more revenue from tourists coming to see them.
First and foremost, we look at the attitude. That is very important because you're not going to work doing this job when you don't like what you're doing. So it's very important for them to have a very positive attitude towards wildlife and conservation in general.
Kibale National Park is described by some as the primate capital of the world because of its high concentration of apes. It received its enhanced protected status in 1993 after the forest had been encroached upon by hundreds of people who built homes there and felled trees for firewood. According to experts, chimp habituation can open up research opportunities that wouldn't otherwise be possible. Africa Bureau, WION, World is One.
Visual artists are putting the finishing touches on their contributions for Nigeria's inaugural Lagos Street Art Festival, which organizers say will see the megacity turn into an open-air gallery. It's a novel promise in a country where street art and graffiti remain relatively niche practices.
Spray paint and brushes in hand, the artists focused on their murals, tuning out the chaotic symphony of car horns and swirls of exhaust from the Lagos traffic behind them. They put the finishing touches to their contributions for the inaugural Lagos Street Art Festival. which opens on Wednesday and promises to turn the mega city into an open-air gallery, according to the organizers.
We believe that art shouldn't be confined in the spaces of a gallery and a museum, that art should be experienced by the public. So that is why one of the reasons why this project is actually happening. You know, it's for the public to be able to interact with the art in public space.
It is a novel promise in a country where street art and graffiti remain niche practices. It also offers a chance to add color to the concrete jungle that more than 20 million Nigerians call home, with works featuring expansive cityscapes, kaleidoscopic patterns evoking African textiles, and proud women in bright head wraps.
I know I've painted in public spaces before, but the energy in Lagos is different, like a whole lot of cars, a whole lot of traffic, you know, a whole lot of comments from people passing by, nice work. So like, you're just feeding off the energy and just doing what you're doing, which I actually find very interesting and enjoyable at the same time.
Joy in the face of difficulty is a recurring thread touched on by Nigerian artists, stretching back to legendary singer Fela Kuti's "Shuffering and Smiling," which has itself become something of a motto in a country that is both Africa's most populous and one of its most unequal. Despite being a West African arts hub, with numerous galleries, museums, and a dynamic local scene, Lagos has not embraced street art as a part of its urban landscape on the scale of other major African cities such as Dakar, Cotonou, or Cape Town, but there's clearly an appetite.
Lagos is a city where there are so many opportunities, and you know, people come around, people migrate to come to do business, they come to, you know, achieve their dreams and build things. And so Lagos is actually a place where you can actually become something you don't believe, and also you can also become something you believe in.
Organizers hope the festival will become an annual fixture, giving artists visibility and residents a fresh perspective on their urban landscape. Africa Bureau, WION, World is One.
Egypt unveiled the revamp of two colossal statues of a prominent pharaoh in the southern city of Luxor, the latest in government archaeological events aimed at drawing more tourists to the country. The giant alabaster statues, known as the Colossi of Memnon, were reassembled in a renovation project that lasted about 2 decades.
When they found actually those statues, they found it separated in very fragmentary conservation and state, and of course they have to work on it for more than 19 years in order to put everything together, in order to collect all several pieces. And today we are celebrating actually the finishing and erecting of these two colossal statues, that it will add a lot to the Luxor in general and to the funerary temple of the king, trying to revive how this funerary temple of King Amenhotep III looked like a long time ago.
I think this site is going to be a point of interest for years to come, and for Luxor, there are always new things happening in Luxor, and our focus nowadays on the archaeological side and also on adding hotel capacity and also enlarging the number of cruises in the Nile. The demand is very high on this kind of tourism, and we're very much cooperating with the private sector on increasing the number of hotel rooms and the number of cruise lines working in the Nile.
Thank you very much for watching this week's edition of Wild of Africa on WION Wild as One. Get in touch with us on all our social media platforms, on Instagram, on X, on Facebook, and WIONnews.com, and share your stories from the continent with us. I'm Eric Njoka. I'll see you next week.
WION Health Resort is unique, the only one of its kind. Experience the 4 paths of natural wellness: yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy. Each uniquely customized program improves the whole person to make every person whole. Come to WION Health Resort. Make your reservation at WION.com.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide, because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, world is one.
Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. To some, it's an extreme ideology. To others, it's the very soul of India. To some, it's rebellion. To others, it's a principle of nation building. Coming soon to challenge perceptions in RSS Centenary Year, Kesariya at 100.